All right, guys, nothing fancy, just getting into it. I'm a little rough around the edges today, but we'll talk about that more in a moment. How are you doing today, Zombie Grub?
I'm fine.
How did the qualifiers yesterday go?
Oh, they were all right. It's surprisingly low check-ins, but it worked
Yeah,
out.
I heard Dares was telling me like 7 people or something ended up being the final number.
No, I think it was still nine because 11 people actually ended up checking in by 5 minutes after, and then
Mm.
one was Chinese, and oh, Zest actually showed up, so it might have been 10, 9 or 10, I think. But it's still really small, and it was like the last 10 minutes and then some that actually gave us those players. So oh
Well,
well.
lucky for us, doing the double elimination format, I guess that wasn't too bad. Still should have given you like I would imagine like I want to say like a 4 hour broadcast, maybe three because it's
It was
Koreans.
still 4.5 actually.
Yeah, that's good to hear at least. But yeah, so the European signups are a little bit lower than we expected, but there's still a good chunk of people actually showing up. And by the looks
Oh,
of the brackets, I mean, we got some fun names in there like Lillekanin and otherwise. You got some good names in there like Snoot and Bly and Braddock and Drogo. So, oh, Nurchio ended up showing up too. Great. I think last time though we had two European Zergs get through. That's right, Denver and a Laser. So it'll be interesting to see if Zergs dominate the bracket once again. I gotta imagine that's the case with Snoot and Nurchio here, but I guess we'll find out in a bit. Oh, why am I green screening the BTSL in the background? If I use my green screen, then how are people going to ask me about my green screen? There we go. Fixed.
I just
Easy.
green screen on you.
Yeah, I used to do that for a while too. Yeah. Oh yeah. Also, just showing off the shirt I'm rocking. Some of you guys will know where this is from. Some of you won't. Whatever. But yeah. So yesterday I wasn't here because I was doing apartment hunting stuff. I got to look at some cool places and some bad places. Some of the places I looked at, I was just like, this was not worth the 20 minutes I took to walk here for. Some of the places I looked at were fucking amazing, but it's still so costly, so expensive. That's it's like what I did was I would take the rent numbers and I wasn't even thinking of utilities or anything, right? Just the rent. So forget that you're adding in like the extra for utilities and internet and otherwise. I'm thinking, how much is this going to cost me for the year, and how much did I make last year? And I'm just like, oh, this is going to feel bad. But I think my top two candidates I saw were a three-story or three-floor, not story, excuse me, three-floor townhouse, lot of space, crazy big area, but it was really old, not very up to date, and kind of in the middle of nowhere. Also, it's kind of expensive, but it was like really, really roomy for the price, so it's kind of worth it. Then the other one I saw that I really enjoyed was this kind of new condo development that just came out. Yeah, pretty much the bare minimums of what I need. A room that's like a little bit smaller than what I use right now, which is fine because I don't use 90% of my room. Um, Very clean area, but it has a gym built in downstairs. But also, what was so crazy was this like karaoke room that you could rent, and it was huge. Like this thing looked like a rich person's like foyer type thing. And it was had cool walls. It had big ass TV. Anyways, that place looked pretty cool. I don't think I'm dead set on anything yet. I do want to keep looking around a bit more, but just because people like Tom, Katie, and others were asking in chat, the hunting went well-ish, I suppose. Also, I'm 90% sure I've walked more in the last day than I have in the last 2 months combined. I didn't coming from the country. Oh, by the way, the bracket's done yet? Sorry, I should say. We're not just here to talk about my life, but coming from the country, our buses don't run very efficiently. Like, you'll get a bus once every hour, and it's never on time, or every hour and a half. And they don't even run all day. Downtown in the city, I wasn't aware of it. I always forget the buses there run like every 10 minutes or every 30 minutes. So I just instinctively skipped a lot of the buses to get to places and walked. And I should have just cut the fucking bus. Because even if I went on the wrong bus, I could get off at that stop and pick another one up that's the right one like 10 minutes later. Can't do that out in the country. So I checked my like stepometer thing. I was like 40,000 steps by the end of the day.
Huh.
Feels good, feels bad,
That's
man.
a lot of steps.
Thank you guys for the bits. We don't have the Muxy jar up today, but I do appreciate the ones making it rain.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
just waiting for the final call from our admin for check-ins, and it looks like they should be wrapping up any minute now.
I don't have
Uh,
any Yes.
We should be on alert, by the way. I should just write that in chat too.
On alert.
Guru messaged me,
Oh,
so I don't know if he's gonna try and weasel his way into the brackets
he
again or
has
not.
been trying to. Every time Dares will take him off, he comes back on.
Yeah.
So he's aware.
He just sent me a picture on Skype of him with sunglasses, and I'm pretty sure he's up to no good. Like, this is literally like Guru asked if he could play today. I said no, you're not allowed to play. So he sent me this picture in response, and I don't know what the fuck to do with that. So let's get it right. PSA. Okay, guys, pretty big warning.
We're like DEFCON 4. That's what we should call it. Because I imagine what if he really wanted to dick us over, would he be sign up under a fake name again and then get as far as possible in the brackets before being recognized? Because that would really be annoying. But he was found out pretty quickly last time. A lot of the players know each other's styles.
There's that, but it's also we kind of looked at that as Bly of all people to find him, because Bly is a very smart individual and he was quick to recognize things that maybe others wouldn't. I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. It's gonna like, there is this degree actually where it's like, oh, a Diamond League player got knocked out by Guru. Like, are we gonna make them replay the whole bracket? Maybe not. But if it is something where somebody who, because the thing about Guru that sucks about kicking someone like Guru out is he's actually very good at StarCraft. And if he kicks out someone else who's also very good at StarCraft, that kind of screws over our brackets.
Yeah, it does. All right, the brackets are finalized. Which one do you want to do? Lillekanin, TomikuS, Archio Emperor M, Cas Avocado, DNS. No, wait, no, I don't know Hades.
I wouldn't mind starting with Lillekanin and TomikuS, actually. That's kind of a closer matchup, I think, than a lot of the rest of these.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're also fully on the new ladder. I didn't get to see any of these maps aside from the previews on Nate's stream, but only like a very small amount of these maps looked good in the first place. How did that go yesterday using them?
So Honor Grounds
the
is...
shutters.
Hold on, I actually kind of have to remember which one is which. I know Proxima Station is actually the big one that I don't mind so much, because I've played on the maps as well. That doesn't have the stupid fucking Reaper shit. Palladino Terminal is just like TvT's gonna be Reaper fucking City, and it's so terrible. I hate it. It's also like the super small one that, granted, has a couple interesting games in the Team Look at Map contest, but overall I didn't think it was great.
Palladino Terminal, the way I look at it, is like, good luck Zerg against Protoss.
Yeah, that was also like Hero had a pretty cool game where like at first he abused the smallness of the map and like the chokes because he just force fielded everywhere, but then it very quickly turned on him and he just couldn't hold. But I'm just shaking my head at fucking Honor Grounds, because Honor Grounds is just, so you can get all spawns, which is like the first problem, because if you're a horizontal spawn or vertical, like it's a very small map in general. It has an in-base expansion like Bridgehead, one that doesn't have like a ramp in between the two. So that's okay. It's like the macro part of it. But then like its third base has a Zelnaga right next to it, which is supposed to give you a lot of safety. But we watched a TVZ that was horizontal spawn, and Kelzer just took control of the Zelnaga on the Zerg's third base, and the Zerg's just like, oh, like, what am I supposed to do about it?
Yeah, with tanks, especially being what they are now, Jesus.
Yeah, it was like super stupid. I mean, Kelzer was doing some really weird stuff actually yesterday, so that wasn't entirely the map's fault. But the map just looks, I don't really like it. I think it's super dumb. And then I don't even think we saw Abyssal Reef. I think everyone vetoed it.
I hope that won't be the trend, because I think Abyssal Reef's gonna have the best map intro for the season.
That's the trick though. That's the curse. Catalina was also not chosen very much because no one really liked it.
It did kind of, in a way though, kept the intro more special because it was like you weren't playing it every moment of every day. Anyways, we'll get this first game rolling in just a moment, guys. Let me hop into the lobby with Zombie Grub. Got to do a quick catch-up of all these sub-shoutouts, though. Thank you very much to Still Python for the 24 months. That's 2 years, man. Kitty the Neko, reset for 28 months, is building a $1,000 gaming rig next month. What do you think of an Intel 5 core 650V Corsair power supply GeForce GTX 1070 Mini ITX 8G graphics card? Want to start streaming again? Honestly, I don't know what most of that is without having to Google it. I will tell you though that the i5 at this point will probably hold up for what you want to do, but if you're thinking about having this computer last longer, the i5 is kind of old in context at this point, and it might be worth shelling out the extra bucks for an i7. But it's all about your budget, what you can afford to do versus what you want to do. I think that if you can spend a couple of extra bucks now to not have to make another new computer 2 years from now, it's probably worth it. The computer I'm using right now could certainly use some updating, but I've had this thing for what, 3 years now? You guys, like forever ago, built this on stream with me, if you remember. Like, this thing has lasted for a while because I did shell out the extra couple bucks. And it'll probably last a couple more years before I have to replace it, which will be good. So again, it's all about what you can do, your budget, etc. Dare's doing Sims, doing some bits. Thank you guys so much. Then Braylon26 subbed, and I think that's caught up. So thank you guys for your support, and thank you for being awesome. Dude, your hair. Okay, so before we go into the game cam, she's typing about this in chat right now. The first thing I said we should turn the camera on, I'm like, your hair looks really cool today. It's almost like you got this like super side bang or something going on. I don't know how to describe it. It's very 90s-ish, I think is also part of it.
I have no idea what it is. It's almost what I would have wanted if I was any bolder, which is like I really want to get a haircut like Blondie.
Well, I think, you know, if you had a bright blue windbreaker on, no, bright pink windbreaker on, and a headband, it'd be perfect.
Bright pink what?
Windbreaker?
Windbreaker.
Rock that like 80s look. Get some neon in the background.
Yeah, that's why I want Debbie Harry like hair. If I have a picture of her next time I go to the hair salon, maybe I'll try it, but I haven't been bold enough yet. But I think it's a good start.
I think you could rock it, dude. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting a game number 1 for the TING Open Season 3 qualifiers. It's the second European qualifier and the last European qualifier for these guys to try and get in. Spawning the bottom right side of the map on Bell Sheer Vestige. My bots, commanders, it's Lillekanin.
Never get old. In the top left is the pink Zerg. He is TomikuS.
I love co-op mode. Starcraft put that tweet out yesterday that was kind of like, what's your favorite part of the game or whatever? And like without hesitation, I'm like, co-op. Boom.
Boom. Yeah, well, I picked ladder with some hesitation.
Thank you, Bacon Hero. That's a very delicious sounding hero. Thank you for the, is it like a hero, like a sandwich though? Either way, thank you so much for that new sub. Oh, Zombie Grub. Oh, I forgot to tell you. The best part about that condo place I was kind of gushing over?
What?
It's a 3-minute walk from Subway.
Ah, but not Popeyes.
Oh, God. Did you see that picture? I'm assuming that's what you're making fun of me?
I can't believe you didn't remember the whole, like, Popeyes thing when we were in Toronto. Like, we passed by a Popeyes, and you were so excited, and I was like, it has a picture of Popeye on it. I think it's like a weight loss thing.
So I was kind of reminded of it, but, like, every time I go to the city, I always check. I always write in Popeyes chicken, just in case one's opened up or something. And I got so excited because the first thing I saw was Popeyes. So I walked over, and I'm like, ah.
This is sad days. Well, it's probably better for your health not to live near Popeyes. It's just like if I ever moved to Koreatown, like it would probably go past that.
It would ruin me.
Yeah, it would ruin my diet. Because the one thing I had going for me in Korea was that I had some social anxiety about speaking Korean. So I wouldn't go out all the time.
So crippling anxiety is the best weight loss drug, is what I'm hearing.
Yes, exactly. If I was in Koreatown in America, they don't have an excuse not to speak English. then I'd eat a lot.
Oh, it's Zombie Grub. I know. I can't compute.
That's like the first thing I always check when I'm like, maybe I can move out, you know? Like I've made a little bit more money this time, and I'll check Annandale and Centerville, and I'll be like, fuck, nope.
By the way, TomikuS is going straight to that Roach Warren. I'm guessing there's two parts of this. One is last time we saw Lillekanin, he was opening with Hellions, so whether it's Hellions, Hellbats, or whatever, he's ready to go for it. The other part is Lillekanin has also been a little bit more known to play mech. And Roach is a little counterintuitive because you like mech equals tanks equals dead roaches, but with the Cyclone openers and the Hellion openers, roaches are a really, really solid way to defend early on.
I mean, it's certainly safe, but it does feel sometimes like unnecessary isn't quite the right word, but I guess sometimes overly defensive to open up roaches. roaches.
Well, TomikuS, I'm hoping Lillekanin, I'm hoping with all the scouting with the Reaper, should have noticed at some point that the Lings still did not have speed and there's no third base. So he's not scouted the main, he hasn't seen the lair, he hasn't seen the roaches, he should have an idea that this is the direction it's going. So my concern in that regard is he's not really rushing his way out to tanks here, instead he's trying to rush out to Liberators, which die to Ravagers and don't clean up roaches that fast.
That's true, but I guess he's figuring that he gets enough Liberators, I guess. I mean, the one major main concern is, of course, are they going for a Nidus Worm? They have roaches and they don't have a third base, so do they have a lair in their base? But
yeah.
TomikuS actually isn't doing that. He just went for fast roaches, almost like a ZVZ, I guess, like except not a +1. And it really is just because he probably knows Lillekanin goes Hellions and goes mech beyond that. But I think he could have gotten away with a bit more greed instead of having roaches so early.
Yeah, it's really the two different roads I guess you can go down, but I
like,
like
he's at 29 drones. Like, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is all in Terra. I mean, how fast that layer came out, the fact that he was investing in this. But it's also weird to now see him take a third and then drone.
Yeah.
So I think for him, he was preparing the wrong way, I guess to say. Like, it wasn't bad preparation considering what Lillekanin's known for.
I suppose, but it really is like, I mean, there's like that over-defending thing, right? Like, if you build 17 bunkers anticipating a Baneling bust, and they see that and just don't Baneling bust, well, then you're the one that's actually screwed.
Are you, though? Because if you give those bunkers enough time, their value should go up.
I don't know, man. You can get 25 minerals each, back, so there's that, too. But the point is, like, there is such a thing as over-defending or getting, like, so scared in a game that you do all the wrong moves, even though you think you're doing all the right ones. Which, I mean, might not be the case. He does have a bit bigger of an army supply, but it's not a very impressive army supply, even still. He's losing so many drones. Oh, there's only one Liberator.
Oh,
second Liberator.
Watch out, world.
No Ravagers, though. So...
That is true. Lillekanin, he's not going to have to worry with the Liberators going down, but it is going to be tough to, as we can see. As you siege it up, the roaches can pretty easily move out of that circle, that targeting range.
Run us, CCs.
While this goes on, of course, Liberators have been set up on the other side of the map, and they're actually getting away with a lot. TomikuS, perhaps a little too focused on his roaches, losing what little queens he has, not moving his spore crawlers around. All the drones have pretty much been picked off or transferred to that third. Queen's gonna get killed by another Liberator.
And Lillekanin is the one that has a third command center and mules.
Whoa. Lillekanin should have never let Ravagers hatch underneath him. He's clearly not paying attention at home, and this is now a big problem, because his Liberators were his only form of defense.
Yeah, well, and a Banshee. Pretty smart. I don't know why he landed the command center again. Like, now he's in danger of losing it to Corrosive Bile, or just straight up losing it. What?
Mistakes are being made on both sides of the field this game. This is hardly a perfect game being played, but the scrappiness is certainly making it very interesting. Again, that's like two bases not mining. TomikuS has been losing so much. Larva's been getting picked off, so you can't even produce new units other than just from this third.
Yeah, it's a very weird game, but it's still one I think goes to Lillekanin, who's just going to have better tech. Like, you cannot deal with 3 Banshees.
Yeah, I mean, the Spore Crawlers can be built, etc., but the Ravagers won't hold up. They can't hit the Banshees most of the time unless they're not moving. Oh my god, Lillekanin, please! We're rooting for you here, bud.
Well, I don't know who I'm rooting for, to be honest, but I'm hoping to see better micro. He's even building... Okay, there's another Banshee. The Banshees really should not die. So one should have actually been enough, and then he can go back on the Liberator if he really wants to.
Same time, TomikuS just lost like 2 Ravagers to the Liberator, which also shouldn't have happened. Yeah, she doesn't have enough to knock down the Liberators anymore, so... Just chasing and scraping the bottom of the barrel. Both players with very low worker counts coming out of this. And of course, Lillekanin down to third base. It would have been so nice. Wow, I've never seen a Ravager burn to death before.
Yeah, me either.
He like stumbled forward and fell over. That was cool, actually. Lillekanin, if he had kept that third alive, I would actually feel so much better about his position in the game. I'd be like, actually, he's kind of got this one. But TomikuS still not fully recovered. Liberator's still giving him a lot of grief on the other side of the map. And of course, his Banshees at some point will eventually work their way over. But down to 18 workers. I guess there's mules. There's always that.
I think mules are fine. I think 17 workers is fine. Below 10, and maybe it's a bit more of a game, but it's still not decided because Lillekanin is still doing so much damage. Even with Spore Crawlers, Liberators are doing damage, and Banshees still have potential to just run around them. So
I really like what he's done here as the priority. If you guys haven't noticed, like the last 2 or 3 Liberators have been not focused on the drones, but have been focused on combination Queens and Larva. So TomikuS, he doesn't have a great bank right now, but even if he did, he wouldn't be able to spend it. He's only had, at any given point, like 1 hatchery he's been able to produce from.
There's actually no cloak, so the overseer is not necessary, but you would expect it eventually.
I would love if he just completely forwent cloak and just went straight into hyperplate run.
Yeah, well. Yeah, it doesn't have the gas or any of that. 3 star ports while you're running around your natural with no gas being taken from there. Yeah, 2 gases is not gonna be enough.
He's have the damage to kill spore crawlers before they build, so I like what he's doing here. But TomikuS quick with the cancels. It's not someone who can spare money, so very important that he is in fact canceling. But Lillekanin, I don't know. Like, what's funny is he's finally getting Hellions back out. At some point, running these across the map would probably do a lot more damage than the Banshees would.
They're attacking the roach?
No, they're attacking the unbuildable bricks. All kinds of awkward this game. This, by the way, Lillekanin is streaming his point of view. I should mention that to the viewers if you guys really wanted to check that out. But yeah, this game has been all sorts of just fumbling around. Like, I really don't know what to say about it. It's made it interesting and less predictable, but also kind of strange and. What are you doing, right? Like, Lillekanin seems to have let a lot of micro go this game with some of the more micro-intensive units. He's
letting us all go. Both of these players really, I think, they either prioritize the wrong thing or like are just getting warmed up, basically. Because I actually think we've seen both of them, and they've done better in even like higher stress scenarios. Because this is not the most stressful a game could get. Like, I think there's even worse ones, but it has been a lot of action a lot of places, and they both are not looking 100%. So I don't know. Not trying to be mean, but it's just I can't explain it otherwise.
Yeah, I know things like flying a Banshee into the queens and all these little like minor details here and there. Well, it looks like Lillekanin is in fact going mech. If that wasn't clear and obvious at this point, with the scrappiness of what it's been, 3 star ports, the factory, like no attempt to go for stim whatsoever. Third base on the way. He's making his recovery process as we speak, but. Funny enough, he does have a worker lead, and of course the Mules, his economy should be better, but that doesn't mean his units are going to be better. As we've seen at home constantly, like just 2 or 3 roaches hit squatting across the map have been killing all the Hellions, killing more SCVs. Like, I'm really, like, Lillekanin's the one who's behind in the resources lost, but because he's got better income, I guess it's kind of more even.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters. Like, the potential of Terran is almost always, well, in mules, of course, but also in technology. So now that TomikuS has a Spire, that is going to be a little more in question, but still not enough. I think if there is 1 or 2 corruptors floating around since the very get-go, this actually isn't even an issue. Liberators have been cleaned up a long time ago. But it waited so long, he's still not actually using it. There we go, mutas are on the way now. And Lillekanin, he's had tech for a lot longer, and good production, I guess, kind of. 3 star ports for longer too.
Well, I wonder what he's gonna do about the mutas, because of course Liberators are not what they used to be, and even if you get weapon upgrades from, they're still a little bit. I'm almost. We're not quite there, but it's almost the point where like Vikings on mass might be better than Liberators on mass versus mutas, depending how things are used. Regardless, Banshees are cleaned up by the first couple, and that Liberator, of course, not gonna get away too much either. Does dive in to try and set up on the main. Cyclones will be okay. I like the missile turrets coming down, but honestly, Lillekanin's anti-air is not the greatest looking thing.
No, but TomikuS' air is also not the greatest looking thing with 4 mutas.
Yeah. And
still no more. I guess he has a larva problem right now. Yeah, that's his problem. Has to run away.
I mean,
Cyclones.
I guess part of it is too, like, if you have 5 Liberators and they're not quite cutting it, 7 just might. Like, it depends on how these engagements go. The splash radius on the Liberators is certainly something you can split against if that's what TomikuS is focused and worried about, but I think even just throwing in like 1 or 2 Corruptors to kind of soak the hits of the Liberators with their high base armor wouldn't be too bad of an idea.
No. I don't know. It's, TomikuS doesn't have a lot of options, and what should have been a lot of harassment with mutas isn't really doing that, so I think Lillekanin's going to get farther and further ahead with a better army, actually, as you get Fusion Core, I guess, for Liberator upgrades, or maybe even the Banshee upgrade, I don't know.
Or maybe Battlecruisers. Actually, the Banshees are tied into the armory now, right? They're not tied into the Fusion Core
that's
anymore.
right. Yeah. Well, okay, so Liberator range or Battlecruisers. He has been going Battlecruisers after mid-game, which, I mean, 14 minutes would be the mid-game, I suppose.
I don't know if you can afford them right now in 3 bases. You'd have to take a 4th, I think, because that main's pretty mined out. The Battlecruiser thing, it's 400 minerals, 300 gas. A very expensive unit, but it's the minerals that are going to be hurting Lillekanin the most, I think.
We'll see. A fourth base is already on the way, so it's not too far off. He's not quite using the fusion core yet, though, so we'll see what that actually goes into. Hydra stand on the way for TomikuS, so I guess he's going to have really a lot of options to deal with the Lillekanin's mech. I mean, the only thing he's going to be missing is a hive, and that might be worth trying to get to, especially if he's banking minerals and gas anyway, because he just can't get larva. Okay, no, he has larva.
Alright, well, Liberator range is confirmed on the way at this point. It's going to make them really good versus the ground. For those who don't play Disgusting Mech styles and haven't had a lot of fun with these, as good as an idea as Hydras might be, Liberators are just so much better in so many ways when it comes to taking these engagements. And mix in, say, a couple of Widow Mines here, a couple of Hellbats to soak some of the hits. Those Liberators are going to be fantastic. This number of Liberators, too, quite excessive. Already up to 8. I mean, the Mutas are going to be scared of one Liberator. It's insane.
Yeah, I'm not very confident in TomikuS's army, but, you know, he gets a good position, catches them while they're not sieged. There isn't a lot on the ground to actually soak up for them. Like, TomikuS could definitely take a fight and start the ball rolling back in his favor, because his momentum has been, well, it's been lacking ever since the first Roach attack finally got cleaned up.
I really like the idea of Ravens too, by the way. It's not the combination we're going for, but Blue Flame Hellion and Ravens with point defense drones are actually some of my favorite ways to deal with Hydras at the moment. But Liberators paired with it, again, anything just point defense drone will nullify 1 or 2 waves of Hydra attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, the Mutas,
Oh,
that was a
no.
mistake.
That many Liberators still okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was not split into a clump of Mutas. Like, I don't know why he was thinking there, but okay, that removes the anti-air threat. Now the Liberators can just kind of liberally siege up wherever they like. There's going to be a couple of shots fired here and there, obviously, but oh, the command center getting in trouble, getting low. Probably should have picked it up.
Probably. There was definitely not enough SCVs, and it wasn't already a planetary, so there was the option. It still means he's going to lose the army while Lillekanin chases, and Lillekanin can continue trying to chase, even, you know, to a counterattack. Oh, it's really worth it, though.
+2 weapons going to finish up in a moment. Once again, the air weapons and the Liberators, we already know, obliterate everything on the ground. It's the underappreciated Banshee attack that gets massive bonuses from these upgrades. 14 damage across 2 attacks every barely 1 second. Banshees have some of the greatest damage, I swear.
They do, yeah. Well, that hive is almost finished up, and we have a couple of infestors as well, and this game has managed to go into what looks like a normal PvZ versus Lillekanin.
I like the infestor choice actually quite a bit. It's unfortunate because it's not paired up with pathogen glands or anything, but fungal growths against an army of this, I guess, caliber, this type, isn't going to be bad. Considering you fungal the ground army, it can't move into range to hit you. Fungal the Liberators, if they're unsieged, forced to then take the corrosive bile hits. Plus, it's just a little bit of damage across lots of units. Yeah, I never really considered it until just now, but a fungal growth is kind of like a Reaper grenade in that way.
Yes.
Like, objectively, to one unit, it doesn't do that much, but if it hits like 15, then yeah, it's doing a lot of damage.
Yeah. Well, Lillekanin, I really don't know if he should still be out here. He's losing his really powerful units, and that army, you know, it's a pretty big area. They could get a concave. But instead, TomikuS goes into a choke. That's not going to work. He cannot reach the Liberators.
Yeah, there's tons of chokes and ramps on Belshir, which is, I think, actually what makes this a great choice in Lillekanin. This isn't something I considered when we saw him start going for Liberators early on, but you consider like every engagement path on this map is either a choke or a ramp. There's actually no easy way to move into the Liberators, especially if you don't have creep spread on the ground.
That is definitely Belshir Vestige, right? That's what I hated it for anyway. But there are a couple of scenarios, like if he gets up this ramp, for instance, now he has the high ground going down into a planetary, so it's, and the chokes aren't like, you know, super tiny. They're not like a main ramp.
I still look at it as, you know, you got to move through a ramp that can entirely be covered by one Liberator type thing.
Yeah, but one Liberator isn't that scary. Like,
no, but it's also not one Liberator. It's like 15.
Well, I do think that's the ramp and the ramp choke aspect of Belshir is really important, and I don't mind Liberators or like siege tanks, right? On the map, I do think that TomikuS, if he was a little more active with his army, would actually be fine. Because like, there's been cases where Lillekanin's only siege up 2 Liberators on one side, and he can totally deal with that. In fact, he's still on 5 here.
It did cost them a lot of Hydras, though, which are very expensive units, all things considered. Backing away from this loses more on the retreat. Other side of the map, we did have a Liberator set up to deny some gases. It's a little bit low because it lost some health, but Corruptors are on the way to eventually clean this up.
They're losing all his Hydras, or his Mutas, rather. I do like Lillekanin's center tower, so the chance of him being unsieged on one of these ramps or chokes is drastically less. So he knows where TomikuS' army is.
I guess it's not technically sieging up. What do we call it? Like defender mode? So it's not defending? It sounds so basic.
I'm pretty sure we still call it sieging up, because like even Swarm Hosts sieged up when they had to burrow.
That's true, I guess, because sieging can be used as like an adjective to describe the situation. The castle's under siege, my liege. Oh man, it rhymes too.
That was pretty good cursive bile. Ah, yes, we finally have some Vipers on the way. He's had high for like I think a minute. I didn't have the gas to afford any.
Lillekanin trying to expand on the right side of the map too. This map, I guess, thinking not too unlike when we see Overgrowth and other things in terms of layout. There's just not that many bases to take, so this game won't be destined to go on for like 60 minutes because these guys are actually going to be mined out at that point. No one's really getting away with too much. Although Lillekanin's Liberator is doing a great job of denying larva here at the, I guess, 5th of TomikuS.
Yep. Once again, a real pain at TomikuS' side. Lillekanin is getting almost maxed out, and this maxed out army I think is going to be better than anything TomikuS can really have. Back when it was 10 Liberators that had to be covering 2 ramps, it's a bit different.
I really like the Vipers. Okay, so I talked about like why I like the Infestors, a little bit of damage, fungal growth, etc. They were wasted. They weren't even used well. However, the Vipers, Liberators don't have that burst or, more importantly, that range to deal with Vipers before they can attack them. So things like parasitic bombs are almost guaranteed to go off. And if honestly the micro, because this game has not, let's be honest, with both sides of the map, this has not been a very micro impressive game. If that ends up being the case here, Lillekanin might take a lot of damage from parasitic bombs. Not to mention Abducts.
Yeah, Abducts gonna be very useful if Lillekanin slow pushes and spreads out his Liberators, but if he just clumps them all up, the parasitic bombs are really good.
He sets up on the retreat path. That's where the Abducts are super important right now.
Whew. Yeah, those were actually life-saving for a lot of these units. But the battle's not over yet. I'm not sure TomikuS should still be pushing in.
Yeah, TomikuS committed. The drone transfer was awkward. Get the hell out of here, boys.
A lot of Banshees not being targeted down, adding a lot of damage in here. The Vipers are all done on the energy. A couple of Cyclones helping out.
Oh, Vipers don't have energy. If only they could get it faster than any other unit in the game. There we go. Boom. Consuming. Going to be able to cast spells again in just a moment's time. Sorry, did my bias show through for a moment there? That was a bit awkward.
Filers are worse, though. Like, get a couple of wins.
Yeah, the Filers were instant, too. At least Vipers take a few seconds, right?
Yeah, at least it's a channel, and you can do your own hatcheries. Well, TomikuS definitely wanted to get this base and mine it out for like a good minute or two before it was found out. Then if it does go into a late game maxed out no mineral scenario, then he would have been in the lead. But that's not gonna work out.
I really like that those SCVs took the time to repair the army too. It's such a small thing, but it goes a long way against these units that deal some damage. But Ravens not quite getting the point defense turns down or anything. Have to unfortunately lose some of the air units for this. No player, I think, for the longest time in this game either, has really been maxed out. The Hydra died to the citizen's arrest too, by the way, like that. No one's really been maxed out this game though. It's considered like when you've got air for Terran, and you consider that you got these Hydras and Vipers and everything for Zerg. They're both going for such expensive units, and they're both taking bad trades. Like, it's just funny to watch this game go the way it is. This is the least typical TvZ we've seen in a while. This was a mistake. I don't know what he was hoping to do with this.
I don't know what that command center was for. This actually isn't the weirdest TvZ I've seen, but it is definitely the scrappiest, the most unpolished. It looks like a Lillekanin game because it's, mass air versus Roach Hydra Viper, but it doesn't really feel like it's been 24 minutes because I feel I've actually been on the mid game for a very long time. Well, we were on an early game for like 14 minutes, so pacing's all off for MA, man.
While this has been going on, almost every single base, except for the ones that have been mined out, actually just took some very severe worker losses. And TomikuS, we just finished describing how expensive his army is. He can't afford this. Like, I'm not exaggerating. Look at that. How many workers have died so far in this game, by the way? 75 and 99. Wow! 75 and 99. That didn't hit me just now how much both players have lost.
A lot. There's a lot of SCV skill over the period of time.
Lillekanin's given some way, though. Whereas TomikuS has unfortunately been trying to hold on to every single one possible. Point defense turn does go down as we see soaks up a lot of hits. Almost takes out all the Vipers for it, but comes from the backside with the Liberators. TomikuS wasn't expecting this.
Yeah, this is looking like the unbeatable army. Lillekanin not even maxed out, but taking vastly better trades. And now trying to go into battle cruisers. I really don't think that's necessary.
I don't understand. He made those Corruptors, and he never made more of them. And I feel like Corruptors would have been such a great unit to have this game. Again, even without upgrades, Corruptors come with base armor too. It's like the second highest base armor in the game. Like, they can take hits from low damaging Liberators.
I don't know. I think he just got stuck, you know.
Huge investment in the Hydras as well. Like, you put +3 into it, you want to use those units.
Yeah, you get stuck thinking all about Roach Hydra Viper, which is an okay composition when things are, I think, still, you know, not maxed out, and the base haven't quite been taken, because it's pretty mobile, and it does get a lot of snipes type potential with the Vipers, but the Corruptors, I agree, they wouldn't have died sniping Liberators, whereas the Hydras did.
121 drones have been killed in the making of this game, by the way. I will say, though, the Hydras, for the moment aside, I would have loved, with these upgrades being what they are, actually to have seen some Queens come out. And I say this because Queens are much cheaper than Hydras, obviously, but they can soak 2 Liberator hits and transfuse each other. So if you needed something tanky on the front line to soak some Liberator hits so your Hydras get in range, Queens wouldn't be a bad option. But all these things are hypotheticals. GG's get called, and Lillekanin will take the first map in this best of 3.
Amazing! Oh, they have to change this. My average is unavailable. Well, duh, I didn't play.
Your average is unavailable?
Yeah, they changed the score screen, so the tabs are like flatter. I think it looks nicer actually.
I'm gonna see it for the first time in a sec. You guys can watch it with me. Cause I take forever to load out of this game. Oh, I see what you mean. Someone was pointing out though that do you see that Reddit thread about the UI though?
What do you mean?
Like one of the bars is longer than the rest.
Oh, I didn't.
We don't see it here because it was the average bar, but it extended all the way to the side, whereas there's like a little gap here. So I messaged our friend who we know at Blizzard that's in charge of the UI things, and I was just like, F to pay respects, dude, and I linked him the Reddit thread someone made, and he's like, it wasn't me, but I'm definitely going to be the one who has to fix it. Oh, Honor Grounds. Okay, this will be interesting. I've seen this one actually played on Nate's map stream a couple times, and this map is really big for a 2-player map.
Honor Grounds?
If this is what I'm thinking of, at least. I could be thinking of the wrong one.
No, you're thinking of Proxima. Honor Grounds is 4-player, and it's actually really small.
Okay, then I'm definitely thinking of the other one.
Yeah, Proxima Station is the biggest map, yet it has proxy in the word.
Well, I guess that makes sense, though, because you want to encourage proxies, because you don't want to walk across the entire map.
Oh, okay. Now, proxy is actually really terrible on Proxima Station, because it also has an in-base expansion, and no cliffs or wider ramps or anything. Of all the maps so far, I like Proxima the best, I guess. But it's still not very pretty, so it's not like I'm like, oh, it's the best map ever.
Well, we'll do a quick little exploration with you guys on stream as we get into it. You may have done this yesterday, but I've not seen it yet, so I want to take a look. But thank you to Conway1308 for subbing during that game. I'm sorry we missed it because there's a lot of stupid stuff happening in that game. And then Cyril for 11 months. Thank you for the 11-month resubs. Is almost there, Kappa. All right, well, we're on Honor Grounds, and this map looks pretty interesting just by looking at the mini-map. Spawning in the top left side of the map, we do have the green Terran player. He's up 1 game. It's Lillekanin.
In the top right is the pink Zerg. He is TomikuS.
All right, so let's take a quick peeky looky-loo, I guess, as we super zoom out. There's the pocket expansion you're talking about, so you kind of got this in base. Also, yeah, this terrain looks like you should totally be able to walk on this. It'd be cool if you could, actually, but very evidently, I'm going to guess you can't. Third base out here is very open. There's that watchtower you were talking about before. I mean, it kind of like, it's almost like an explosion of bases. Like, ideally, I guess once you can secure your third, you can also secure your fourth and your fifth in the same logic. But with all this high ground grass, that watchtower is super necessary to defend any of this.
Yeah. I haven't seen it go to a 4th base yet. The games have been over by thirds, basically. And I mean, some of that reason was that we've seen nothing but horizontal spawns. So I'm like a little suspicious the only thing you can get. I'm pretty sure it's not, though. They didn't mention any spawns in the release.
Well, that'd be easy to check because we could just load into a game. If you remember, it shows you the possible spawn locations when you do.
Oh yeah, I never check those. I always forget it's a thing.
It's always there on the map, but it's like your brain weeds it out because you've known where the spawns are. You're like, I don't need to look for that.
Yeah, well, when Lillekanin takes his 3rd base, and I assume he's gonna go Hellions, that's when taking control of TomikuS' 3rd is like actually kind of easy. Even if he gets roaches, you can start dropping into his natural because TomikuS kind of has the worse off at natural, being, you know, the undefended point that you're not thinking of closer to your opponent. Kind of sucks. I don't mind that he took the 3rd as the natural. In fact, that's, you know, something that's very common in a lot of other maps. You can get the creep spread out. You can take control of the Xel'Naga a little bit quicker, I suppose, in a more safe manner. But it's not.
I'm actually
not maker anticipated.
I mean, the idea of the watchtower to help cover against the high ground grass problems around the 3rds, I get that. But I'm actually just surprised there's no watchtower in the middle of the map, like on Whirlwind, for example. It's such a big map with so many pathways in the middle.
Yeah, it's like they intentionally didn't do it. Like the Xel'Naga like went down. There's like stones. It's like the Triforce.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if we rotate the map, there'd probably be a 4th one in there, huh? It's green, blue, and red. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, the other thing to mention, of course, is the gold base has rocks on it. So if it's the other spawns, you could take a gold base, or like Lillekanin could probably take a gold base. But also, the ramp is a bit bigger than any of the ramps defending your main base. So it's not just one supply depot, barracks supply depot, or other variations thereof for the other races. It's not this, but
oh lordy. Well, I mean, Hellions are on the way. This will be a problem for the moment. In fact, Marines with hold position SCVs around them, or even just attacking SCVs if you see, they'll keep this from getting too out of hand. 2 workers.
Yeah, that wasn't so bad. That looks super tempting, but I was talking more about just like how his wall off looks. Like I think there's prettier wall offs on this map, but it is
for sure. But what's interesting is if Terran would spawned elsewhere, we might not have these problems because he's trying to fit in the reactors and the tech labs, right? Like
that's true. Damn Terran.
I know. I actually what's kind of neat too is I do like the fact that it's a wider, I guess, choke, but that's only allowed really because you are covering 2 bases with it.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of the trade-off, but in fact, I think that's no. Bridgehead had a regular main ramp.
Main ramp.
Shut up. But I'm thinking of that old Heart of the Swarm map. When Heart of the Swarm was first introduced and there was rocks at your 3rd, that map had an in-pocket expansion, and that also had like a wider ramp. So.
What was that? What was that one? Oh god. The one that had that notoriously big ramp that everybody was so mad about.
Oh! It was Daedalus.
Daedalus, right? Yeah, you had a ramp that was like this size times 2 that you had to deal with.
I remember because I learned what Daedalus was or who it was.
Right. Oh yeah, we watched that stupid Hercules cartoon together on YouTube.
Yeah.
God, it was
learning.
StarCraft helps your brain grow, guys. But I do want to point out it's really interesting. TomikuS has not taken his natural at all. We do have drop into the main, by the way. Widowmine's coming out. This actually won't get a lot of kills, but this is going to be really nice scouting, realizing the layer came up the way it did. I'm not sure if you saw that second Widowmine, though. Oh, not too shabby. 7 kills on that Widowmine.
Yeah, that was pretty good. You got the part of the drone line instead of just the 2 that were up to the side. So not too bad, not too shabby, but that is like... I guess that's why TomikuS didn't want to take that pocket expansion, because this was probably even worse to defend. Like, he still has overload scouting over there, so it's not like there's like wide open space you just won't ever see, but it is... Well, I don't know if it's really the right decision. What
I liked about it, like, okay, this is a little bit more exposed, and yeah, there's like a whole empty part of the base, but I like that this gives him a lot of control over the watchtower, so he doesn't rely on the watchtower necessarily. Like, you've got creep tumors to make up for the vision that the watchtower doesn't give you, right? Like, it is in a way safe to play like this, but then as we were watching right now, there are drawbacks clearly.
Yeah, and if you have creep spread over here where the Hellbats are, that's one Spore Crawler really helping out. Or the Queen, you know, actually being mobile and walking over to snipe the medevac. As it is right now, he's got to get his own army units in position, even though he sees that the drops are there. He just can't respond to them very quickly. So it's kind of an awkward situation. I'm not sure I completely like it. This is also an awkward attack.
Yeah, it's pushed back though. Problem is that one of the main did get away. It's 4 Hellbats getting away with so much. That Spire is absolutely going to die. I mean, TomikuS not exactly banking a ton of money saying like, oh, I was relying on those mutas, but it's going to suck not having them as an option.
Yeah. And considering last game where Spire really could have helped him out. He's in better Italians.
He's had a hard time responding to this. I mean, TomikuS, not in terms of like drone losses. Like, okay, he's losing some drones and that sucks, but this could have been so many more stacking up the way they were. Hold the phone. Maybe these Marines will get 3 or 4 more. Liberator setup over here, though. I mean, there's just so many ways that this is falling apart for TomikuS. That attack really drew him 2 different directions with slow units that weren't able to respond to either in time appropriately. Oh, no detection. That Spore Caller is way out of position for this.
Yeah, it was pulled back to deal with the Liberator, so that's a mistake there. And Lillekanin is just absolutely taking advantage of it. Now, he's not exactly running away with the game and just like, oh my god, he's absolutely going to win with the first push he does, but being up in workers is always very nice for Terran, and his production did just finalize, so his supplies should be starting to really get up there.
Plus, last time, the way he played that air mech style, as we saw, it was very expensive, and any bad trades quickly snowballed into really bad trades. But with ground mech, you're kind of guaranteed a little bit more, I don't know how to phrase it, like hardiness with your army. Like, you're not going to get away with the same BS that Liberators do, but you're also going to have an army that's much harder to kill.
Well, this is going to be... It's going to be a difficult push to hold for TomikuS, not just because of the damage he took, which is still a lot of damage. Just only cleaning up the Banshees now. But that's... Lillekanin's reinforcement point is also his defending point, his 3rd base, and his reinforcement point is going to be so close to TomikuS's base. Especially now that he's taking a 4th base, technically closer to his opponent, where he still has that pocket expansion that is only droppable, you know, it doesn't actually put you any closer to your opponent, just to drops, which Lillekanin should be less and less inclined to do.
This ramp here, I guess, too, but with this rock setup being here, this base would be so annoying to defend.
Yeah, I think that's I gotta see what the idea was for the map. You know, you technically can get pretty safe bases after you defend your 3rd base, but then people start breaking down the middle of the map, and it becomes just so many pathways and abusable siege positions that it's actually a danger as you continue expanding. But we haven't seen the middle of the map broken down yet. Used. They're going to be very good for tanks, though. Why is he getting 2 more armories? He's already researching. Well, clearly for air upgrades. Oh, we can't do 1. Just kidding.
Well, it takes this base on location. I guess feeling quite confident with how this is going. I look at this base too, by the way, and the only thing I think about is like, forget drops and forget anything else. Putting siege tanks on this high ground. Even if you've got the ability to come up the ramps, you still have to go around the ramps into the siege tanks. Like, this map actually, considering you put siege tanks over here too, like drop them on top of your opponent's natural if they never took that natural base. Like, damn, siege tanks should absolutely dominate this map. I think in every matchup, too.
It's a very condensed map, you know? Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in a very tiny amount of space, and that stuff happens to be, like, ridges and chokes and whatnot. So I could see it being very infuriating in TvP, actually, with the ability of Doom drops actually getting to all these points very quickly. Whereas, you know, versus Mech right now, it doesn't look so bad. It's a very slow game. Looking just getting a lot of advantages here and there.
Hellions have range up here, are you kidding me? I mean, keep in mind too, I really truly don't think anyone built this map saying like, okay, I'm gonna try and wait for my Terran bias to show through and win this map every time. But it is something where like we're seeing a lot of really abusive spots.
I don't know, that's not only abusable by Terran. I'm like the spot between the 3rd and the main and the natural, and the fact that the natural is so droppable. I think those are something that's always gonna be like, fuck Terran. But the middle base, like, if you're actually choosing to expand this far and still not take your natural base,
oh lord,
then that's kind of on you. Like, you're gonna have to start defending outward bases, and that's always difficult.
Well, that's very true. That's very true. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm just kind of hyperbolizing a bit because we're seeing some fun stuff happen. But I guess at the same time, too, all things considered, let's assume swarm hosts were in play. Which, by the way, I think TomikuS may want to consider. We saw Denver dismantle mech with swarm hosts the other day, but I'm looking at this map too. Set up swarm hosts here, natural base is dead. All these expansions, like swarm hosts have got a lot of ledges they can launch from too.
If Lillekanin takes his 5th where you would expect, like right there, then that's suddenly the Hydra's on the high ground, having like a ton of
Hell,
advantage. And
the lurkers might you just burrow lurkers up on the high ground
that too. Yeah, so I definitely think, well, this looks like these are the expansions you're supposed to take because it's closer to your expansion you've already taken. Just expanding like you usually do on maps, that is either to the very right or to the very left, is like the much better option. So Lillekanin should probably just take the gold base, and TomikuS would probably just taken the right gold base and some, but now he's expanded towards his opponent and is giving him, you know, just a faster reinforcement point as a mech player.
Yeah, Corsair is actually doing a pretty nice job of hitting the tanks as they siege up. The problem is hitting tanks after they've already been sieged up, and that's not going to be an easy option. He is playing really well, though. I mean, the control, the control in this one battle's looked better than an entire game leading into this. But regardless, it's still a big pushing army out of Lillekanin that's not going to be easily stopped. I love that lurkers are on the way, but lurkers aren't going to hold up the siege tanks. 13 range versus 9.
Lurkers, really? Questionable.
Especially with a Raven here, too. Like, he's doing so many scans, and I'm like, why, bro? You got a Raven.
TomikuS has no upgrade, too. So his units are very, very poor.
Yeah. He's going to send them across the map. He's not going to be using them defensively. And it feels like we're heading towards what is possibly a base trade. But really, what's happening is TomikuS is just letting Lillekanin run through his base.
Yeah. I definitely think that some of this is the fact that it's new maps. Well, this one in particular, I suppose. Belshir's not new. It's actually very old. But the point is, we saw in Team Look at Map Contest that it seemed that the new maps had kind of favor Terran for like reasons to get into after. But I think TomikuS is just kind of do what he can and probably got messed up a little bit because of the early drops, because of the way that he had to expand. And then beyond that, well, they both have not been playing very clean games. Well, it's all added up to this.
If both were to knock down all the outer bases, the thing is, Lillekanin still has his natural, and TomikuS is only just getting it. So, and I don't think TomikuS is going to actually have defense to push Lillekanin back, whereas Lillekanin will eventually, as we see a couple tanks set up on the high ground, Thors and Vikings landed. I mean, Lillekanin, in my opinion, has already run away with this game.
Yeah, I think so. TomikuS still has an army that could catch Lillekanin like on siege. That's questionable. A Viper's gonna pop out, but not have much to gain energy off of.
No, in fact, if he just doing some auto turrets, he would have caught them immediately. Yeah, all the bases are gonna go down, and TomikuS might lose this game to lack of buildings. Actually, it doesn't happen often in StarCraft 2, but I don't believe he has any. Oh, he did escape one drone. Excuse me.
Aha! So this is not a real base race. In order to be a real one, you have to actually be like your opponent has to be equally in danger. He's not.
Lillekanin has killed 116 drones this game, by the way. On one hand, it's like props to TomikuS for building enough to replace that many, but also at the same time, bro, you lost like 110 drones. Like...
One drone left. Where's the little guy?
If he looks, he'll
he's hiding.
Run to the base.
He's hiding. There's one drone hiding to the very right.
Oh,
I
right
survived.
There. Yeah. That's weird. If you click the drone, even though there's one drone, it takes you to the hatchery because it's building. Neat. That drone really can't move anywhere. Tank's gonna blow it away. So
no!
rip.
Well, that's a good game.
I mean, the other part of this is Lillekanin doesn't know that this is the only base remaining.
That's true. But he's still not in danger. Like, this is not, again, a point where Lillekanin, if he moves, he might lose his base, and thus the base race is won by TomikuS. Like, there's no risk of that. He has so many structures.
I was so worried that he's knocking down the rocks with the thoughts of, like, canceling the hatchery and building it close. Oh, my God.
That would have been pretty bad. For sure.
This is his only building.
He's even taken TomikuS' base, which is full minerals, by the way, because he never took it natural. So.
Ah, that's right. That's actually quite funny.
I don't know. I don't know what TomikuS is thinking. He knows he did not break Lillekanin's reduction, and if you don't do that, then there is kind of no hope.
No, look at this too. Missile turrets, siege tanks, liberators. Like, his base is an impenetrable fortress at this point. I guess we'll do some shoutouts while we got some time here.
Sure.
Thank you to PVT Wings for the 11-month resub. Says, thanks for making my days at work go a little faster. Well, thank you for being my Summoners War, bro. Stofy93 sub for 8 months. And then the Optical Speed just hit his 1 year. So, hey, that's about time for a part 2. Make sure to send the channel a message. We'll get you a form to fill out, etc. There's been this really annoying chat bug too, and I've seen this on a couple other streams too, because I know it was us last time where people are like resubbing for like 6 months, but it's showing like the 3-month badge, but giving like a 1-month notification.
Yeah, that happened yesterday. There's that bug.
Congratulations to Lillekanin. Takes the series 2-0 and moves on to the brackets. I do want to point out though that this is double elimination, so those who are like diehard TomikuS fans out there, he does have a loser's bracket to fall back to, and we wish him the best of luck. But yeah, we're gonna go to our first commercial break of the day. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you stick around, and we'll be back with more of the Ting Open when we return. If you're bored during the break, by the way, and you really want to check out the sponsors, I would highly recommend doing it because they got some cool stuff on the website, bttv.ting.com. If you live in the United States, they even have a talent, what's it called? I can't remember the word right now. Cost calculator to see if it's worth like saving the money, swapping a Ting. They offer a lot of really good services. Seriously, check them out, guys. We'll see you in 2 minutes.